Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I'm Kubrali and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada. Ontario to reveal next steps of plan to stay open. Thursday hints at changing status quo. Let's announce 4 new passport service sites as backlog continues. Ontario to expand program allowing paramedics to avoid ER's inpatient care. 2 people rushed to the hospital following 2 separate collisions in Brampton. Ontario doctors are advising people to keep up with the vaccinations ahead of the fall, when illnesses including COVID-19 and influenza are expected to spread amid health systems challenges. Physicians spoke at a virtual panel hosted by the Ontario Medical Association for a look-ahead discussion about the pandemic and other healthcare issues in the coming months. Infectious diseases specialist Dr. Zain Chagla says other countries have seen influenza spikes this year and Ontario should brace for something similar, as well as a likely increase in COVID-19 cases in the fall. Chagla says Ontarians should get their flu shots to avoid serious symptomatic illness and related healthcare strain as the system deals with staffing shortages and other challenges. Pediatrician Dr. Sloan Freeman says she is also concerned about children falling behind COVID-19 vaccinations and other immunizations that were missed during the pandemic, and says efforts must be made to help them catch up. The return of Zellers, Hudson's Bay to resurrect Canadian discount retail chain. Mayors, police and businesses push Ontario for help on homelessness and opioid crisis. Those were the headlines, and let's jump right into the details. The Ontario government will reveal the next steps of its plan to stay open on Thursday, something the Health Minister Sylvia Jones has hinted will create stability in the province's healthcare system and aid in recovery post-pandemic. Speaking at the Association of Municipalities Ontario Conference in Ottawa, Jones provided vague details about what these next steps may entail. The government's goals, she said, are to provide the best care possible to patients and residents while ensuring the resources and supports are in place to keep our province and economy open. Part of the plan will involve an expansion of a program that allows paramedics to transport patients somewhere other than an emergency room or treat them at the scene. CTV News Toronto has learned that more details about the plan will be released on Thursday. However, it's unclear what else it will include. Jones is scheduled to make an announcement alongside Minister of Long-Term Care Paul Calandra and the CEO of Ontario Health Matthew Anderson at 9 a.m. Tuesday, Premier Doug Ford was peppered with questions from the official opposition about the possible privatization of some healthcare services. It included a permanent wage hike for personal support workers, the creation of 2 new medical schools, a financial investment in nursing programs, the shoring up of domestic production of personal protective equipment, and the creation of 3,000 new beds or hospital beds over the next decade. The federal government is adding new passport service locations across Canada as a backlog in processing applications continues. Social Development Minister Karina Gould announced Wednesday that people can now apply for and pick up passports at Service Canada centres in Red Deer, Alta, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Trois-Rivières, Quebec, and Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Only 1.1 million applications for new and renewed passports have been filed since April as pandemic restrictions loosen and Canadians resume travelling. More than 1/4 of those hadn't yet been processed as of early this month. Government statistics show the system is starting to catch up with demand as the gulf between the number of passport applications each month versus the number of passports issued is getting smaller. But a large backlog remains. In the first week of August, the number of passports issued within 14 business days of an application fell to 72% from 81% the week before. The week of June 20th, the percentage of passports being issued within 40 business days was 76%. Gould said the government failed to predict to what extent demand would sharply spike early this year and wasn't prepared for a glut of mailed applications. Gould said she's working on bringing passport services to 9 or 10 additional offices and hopes to make more announcements soon. Mayors, police leaders, and businesses in Ontario calling on the province to provide more help in dealing with the growing homelessness and opioid crisis gripping both big cities and small towns. Ontario's Big City Mayors, a group that includes 29 mayors of cities with a population of 100,000 or more, requested an emergency meeting with the province and Premier Doug Ford 2 months ago to address homelessness, the opioid crisis, and mental health, said Cam Guthrie, the organization's chair. So far, the province has not responded to that request, said Guthrie, who is also the mayor of Guelph, Ontario. He noted the group's caucus is quite disappointed to be kept waiting on such an important issue. The mayor's caucus met with Michael Tibolo, the Associate Minister of Mental Health, at the Association of Municipalities of Ontario annual conference this week, but Guthrie said a meeting with multiple ministries is needed to address such a complex problem. Municipalities across the province are dealing with an increasing homeless population spurred by the devastating effects of COVID-19 pandemic and growing distrust and distrust of large shelters with congregate settings. The opioid crisis continues to have significant socio-economic impacts on Ontario's businesses and communities, in particular in northern areas, the construction industry, and on racialized and other marginalized groups, said Sarah Fidelman, a senior policy analyst with the organization. Ontario will announce a plan for health system stability and recovery this week, Health Minister Sylvia Jones said Wednesday, revealing that one part will be able to expand a program that allows paramedics to avoid taking patients to the ER on every call. The minister made her remarks in a speech to the Association of Municipalities Ontario Conference in Ottawa as a nursing staffing shortage has seen emergency departments across the province closed for hours or days at a time throughout the summer. There are no easy solutions, but bold and innovative steps are required to improve patient care, Jones said in her speech. First phase of paramedic pilot project was launched in 2020 with programs in more than 40 municipalities that allow paramedics to take patients somewhere other than an emergency room, such as mental health facility, or to treat them on scene. The province is also expanding when paramedics can safely and effectively provide treatment, starting with minor acute illnesses and injuries such as falls and chronic conditions such as diabetes and epilepsy. Ontario doctors are advising people to keep up with the vaccinations ahead of the fall, when illnesses including COVID-19 and influenza are expected to spread amid health systems challenges. Physicians spoke at a virtual panel hosted by the Ontario Medical Association for a look-ahead discussion about the pandemic and other healthcare issues in the coming months. Infectious diseases specialist Dr. Zain Chagla says other countries have seen influenza spikes this year and Ontario should brace for something similar, as well as a likely increase in COVID-19 cases in the fall. Chagla says Ontarians should get their flu shots to avoid serious symptomatic illness and related healthcare strain as the system deals with staffing shortages and other challenges. Pediatrician Dr. Sloan Freeman says she is also concerned about children falling behind COVID-19 vaccinations and other immunizations that were missed during the pandemic, and says efforts must be made to help them catch up. Canadian department store Zellers hopes to make a comeback next year, a decade after the discount chain shuttered most of its locations, brand owner Hudson's Bay Company said Wednesday. Zellers will debut a new e-commerce website and expand its brick-and-mortar footprint within select Hudson's Bay department stores across the country in early 2023, HBC said. The launched discount retailer will offer a digital-first shopping journey that taps into a nostalgia of brand, the company said. We know how special Zellers is in the hearts and minds of the people in Canada, said Adam Paul, Zellers' chief business officer. Zellers is a brand deeply rooted in the Canadian experience. The return of Zellers comes as soaring inflation drives consumers to discount retailers in the search of lower prices and fierce competition from existing stores like Walmart, Dollarama, and Giant Tiger. Zellers department store was founded in 1931 and acquired by HBC in 1978. Operated as the discount division of its flagship Hudson's Bay department stores with the slogan "Where the lowest price is the law." Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.